Hi guys, so we're going to start with coordinate geometry. Now before I can give you the points that you should, before I can go into examples, the first thing you need to know is what the syllabus is expecting of you to know. So what you must know after the end of this topic is that the first thing, you should be able to know how to find gradient. Second thing, you should know how to find midpoint. The third thing, you should know how to find equation of a line. So you should know how to find the equation of the line. Then the last thing, you should know how to find the distance between 2 points. So once you know this, these are 4 concepts, then we are good to go with this topic. So let's start with the first concept, which is gradient. What should you know about gradient? So the first thing is you must know how to find the gradient of a line given points. So first thing we are saying, so we're looking at gradient here. That's the first concept we are looking at. So now suppose you are given 2 points. Suppose we have A, which has coordinates -5, 3, and we have B, which has coordinates -4, 1. Then the question is saying find the gradient. So gradient is also denoted as m, small letter m. Gradient is given by y2 minus y1 everything over x2 minus x1. Now in this case, we come back here and we name this as x1, this as y1, this as x2, this as y2. Then our y2 is 1 and our y1 is 3. Our x2 is -4 minus our x1 is -5. Then from there, this becomes 1 minus 3, we get -2. Then we have -4. Negative times negative is positive. So this maintains -2 over -4 plus 5, that is +1. Then 1 into -2, we get -2. So therefore the gradient of that line given those coordinates is -2. Now the other thing that I would love you to know about gradient is how to find the gradient given an equation. So we call it the intercept form. So the intercept form is as follows. So y is equal to mx plus c, where m represents gradient, then c represents the y-intercept. Suppose you've been given an equation as follows. Let's say we have y minus 2x is equal to 4. So that's the equation that we have. Y minus 2x is equal to 4. How can you find the gradient given this equation? It's simple. To find the gradient, you just have to make y the subject. So the 2x will have to cross the equal sign. So y will be equal to, when the 2x crosses, it's negative, it becomes positive 2x. Then the 4 is already positive plus 4, like that. So now we know that it is now in intercept form, and this represents the y-intercept, but the gradient is the coefficient of the x. So therefore the gradient in this equation is +2. So that is how you can find the gradient when you're given an equation. That is very important. Again, still on gradients, I also want you to understand one last thought on gradient, that is on parallel and perpendicular lines. So what should you know? So the first thing that I want you to know is that if you have lines which are parallel, so suppose this is line 1, then this is line 2, parallel lines, their gradients should be the same. So the gradient of line 1 should be equal to the gradient of line 2. So parallel lines have the same gradient. That is an important thing. What should you know about perpendicular lines? Suppose we have a line here and another line. This is line 1, then this is line 2. Then what? They are perpendicular because they are creating a 90 degrees here. So for perpendicular lines, the product of their gradients should give us -1. So those are the key points you should know about gradients. Now we can proceed to our next concept. We said we'll also look at midpoint. So the second concept we are going to look at is midpoint. How can we find midpoint? Midpoint, denoted as MP, is given by the formula x1 plus x2 everything over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 everything over 2, close brackets. So that's a formula we can use to find midpoint. Now suppose we've been given coordinates. So let's say we have point A which has coordinates. So let's say 2, 3. Then we have point B which also has coordinates. So here we say 4, 3, like that. Then the question is saying find the midpoint. How do we find the midpoint? So we're going to name this as our x1, this as our y1, this as our x2, this as our y2. Then the midpoint of the line AB is as follows. Our x1 is 2, our x2 is 4 divided by 2, comma, our y1 is 3, our y2 is 3 divided by 2, close brackets. Then when we say 2 plus 4, we get 6 divided by 2. Then when we say 3 plus 3, we get 6 divided by 2. Then finally we say 2 into 6, that is a 3. Then 2 into 6, that is a 3. Therefore the midpoint for the line AB is 3, 3. That is how you can find midpoint. Okay, the other concept that we're going to look at here is how you can find the equation of a line. So this is the third concept. How can we find the equation of a straight line? So that is our next thought. Now suppose you are given 2 points again. Suppose you have point A and point B. Now I'm going to refer to the previous example where I said point A to be -5, 3 and point B to be -4, 1. Then we are asked to find the equation of this line. How do we find the equation? Equation is given by the following formula: y minus y1 must be equal to m, then x minus x1. Now where this is our x1, this is our y1, this is our x2, this is our y2. The first thing is you find gradient, because there is gradient here. Now if you find gradient for that point, suppose you now know how to find gradient. We found the gradient to be -2. That's the gradient we found. So you come here and you say y minus, what is our y1? Our y1 is 3, is equal to the gradient we found, -2, open brackets, x minus x1, our x1 is -5, like that. So we have that. Then this becomes y minus 3 is equal to -2. Then negative times negative, this will be x plus 5, like that. Then we proceed now to simplify that, where we can say the -3 can cross the equal sign, so that we can now have y is equal to -2 times x, -2x, -2 times 5, it will be -10. Then when the -3 crosses, it becomes +3. Then the final touch is you just group the like terms together. So the equation will be as follows: y is equal to -2x, then -10 plus 3, we get -7. So that is how we can find the equation of a straight line given 2 points. Or if you are given the gradient at 1 point, it's fine, you can still find. So that's it basically. Then the last thought is on calculating distance. Okay, so the last thought is on calculating distance or the length. Again, suppose you are given two points with coordinates. So A -3, 3, then B we say 5, 9. So initially this is our x1, y1, x2, y2. Then how do we find distance between A and B? Distance between A and B is given by the square root. That's a formula I'm writing. Square root, open brackets, x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Then the distance is equal to the square root. Our x2 is 5, so say 5, x1 is 3, so 5 minus 3 squared plus, then we now have that one. Here I said okay, we can just pick it the way it is, where we can now say I got this as 3, I wanted to put a negative here, but we can just get it like that. So our y2 is 9, our y2 is 9 minus our y1 is 3, and we cross like that. So this will be equal to square root 5 minus 3 is 2, so it will be 2 squared plus 9 minus 3 is 6, so it's going to be 6 squared. And this will be equal to square root 2 squared is 4, then 6 squared is what? Is 36, since it's 6 by 6. Then when we say 4 plus 36, we get 40. So that is what we get. So now how do you find the square root of 40? What can we do to find the square root of 40? Now we know to say the square root of 49 is 7, but what of the square root of 40? So now what we're going to do here is, I want you to get 1 point. This is a paper 1 type of question, and therefore you're not allowed to use a calculator. So if you find a concept where you are unable to solve it without you're unable to solve it without using a calculator, then you rather just leave it like that, the way it is. But from here I know to say 40 can be written in a different format. 40 can be written in a different format, and in order for me to write 40 again, I can say 40 can be written as 4 multiplied by 10. I can say 4 multiplied by 10. So this is going to give me 40. So, and I know now the root of 4 is 2. So the final answer can be 2. Then the root of 10 then units. So that is what I can do. But if you are finding a direct answer, suppose they give you a perfect square, something like the square root of 36, the square root of 49, those you can just find them direct and just like that. So our final answer, just in case you are able to see here, our final answer that we have found is 2 root 10 then units. 2 root 10 units. So this is the final answer that we found, but it's okay to also leave it as 40, the root of 40. It's okay to also leave it as the root of 40. It's still fine. So that's how basically you can go about those concepts. Now I want to give you a work that you can try. So the first one is, I want you to try out this question. Now suppose you've been given two points, so which is point A and B. So let's say point A with coordinates, let's say -2, k. Then you've also been given point B with coordinates k, -14, like that. Then they are telling you to say if the gradient is equal to, let's say, +2, then find k. So find the value of k. If this is the scenario we have here, then I want you to try and find the value of k. Then the second question I'm going to give you is, suppose we have an x or y plane like this. So y, x, so we have 0 there. Then we have a line. If we have a point A here with coordinates 0, 4, and a point B there with coordinates 2, 0, then I want you to find the equation of the line that is parallel to AB. So find the equation of the line that is parallel to AB and passes through the origin. So hope you get the question. So I want you to find the equation of a line that is parallel to the line AB and passes through the origin. That is the question that I want you to try. So once you try, then send the solutions. I see how you've gone about them.